Welcome to OCLive.
Dreams and goals, they take time to mature. They don't happen overnight.
Our second speaker was born and raised in Carpinteria, California. She has found a joy in writing, and she would like to use her voice as a tool for positive change in the future. So please help me welcome Miss Ana Casillas.
At 11 years old, your world typically revolves around school and sleepovers with friends. 11 years old marks the last 2 years before entering the tumultuous teenage years, promising emotional turmoil and acne. For me, 11 years old marked the beginning of my battle with my health. My days revolved around medicine schedules, doctor's visits, trembling hands, and my parents' ever-worried faces. My world revolved around my thyroid disease and understanding that I wouldn't be one of these carefree kids. In the US, we are conditioned to believe that doctors hold the answers to our healing and the magic pill for all ailments. I, too, once believed that blood tests and medications would reveal the roadmap to restoring my health. But eventually, I got tired of being sick, tired of the fear, tired of being treated but not cured. And so, I took back the power over my health. It can be terrifying to think about straying from your doctor's recommendations, but you have to know that although doctors are great resources, you know your body best. This feels like a good time to point out the obvious. I am not a doctor or a medical professional. I am just a girl who found a way to get her own health back on track. My childhood and the years following my diagnosis were an interesting time. While at my mom's house, I learned some healthy habits. I learned moderation, and I grew to enjoy fruits and vegetables. However, my world at my dad's house was very different. There I knew overeating. I flirted with mindless snacking, and I shunned anything that kept me away from the TV. Along this roller coaster ride with my health, I learned that my body was really good at responding to my emotions, particularly stress. So much so that I once developed a blood clotting disorder, complements of my autoimmune disease, and pre-diabetes. I became the master of facades. I became more concerned with appeasing my parents than considering how this ordeal had affected me. And so, food became my friend. And as I packed on the pounds, so did the stress of becoming a diabetic preteen. One of the many challenges my family and I faced was getting my thyroid under control. And once medications had stabilized my hormones, I began to gain back the weight I had once lost so quickly, plus many more pounds. Slightly nervous, pardon me. Thank you. It was terrifying at such a young age to be told that I had a disease that is considered incurable, a disease that in most people is remedied either through radioiodine treatment to burn out the gland or surgery to remove the gland completely. And at such a young age, I couldn't understand the depths of what this meant or how it would affect me in the long term. I lived in fear that a missed medication dose would be the end of my life. I would rush home after school to make sure that my doses were accurately timed. It began to feel like each doctor's visit was the determining factor of whether I would get to live on. And doctors had a hard time explaining to me what exactly my condition was and how it would affect me in the long term. I began to feel powerless over what was happening with my own body. It became necessary to find healthy outlets for these heavy, heavy emotions. And thanks to the love and support of my parents, I began going to counseling to voice myself. I started journaling to express the things I couldn't utter aloud. I later learned to meditate and practice yoga. I started running, and I found a love within the act of meditation. I let myself feel my emotions deeply, and I spoke to others when they felt like too much to bear alone. We tend to encourage young people to retain this habit of questioning the status quo and asking questions about their environment. And as adults, it is just as important to question social standards. Doctors are often in the business of treating diseases, so we can sometimes forget that being cured is an option. But I'm here to tell you that you deserve to feel amazing. You deserve to be cured. We often get into the routine of taking medications, seeing doctors often, and overall feeling unwell. But it's important to be your own advocate. Be willing to look outside the box and do your own research. Really, you can do your own research and discuss it with your doctor. It can be terrifying to think about straying from the path. But as I mentioned, you deserve to be cured. You deserve to feel amazing. It has been a little over 6 years since I was taken off of diabetes medication, and about 3 years since I discontinued thyroid medication. Thank you. For a long time, I worried that I would go in to see my doctor for my yearly visit, and I'd be told that I needed to start medications again. And this idea felt like I'd be letting myself down. But the reality is, health isn't this rigid state of in or out. It's fluid, and it changes over time, just like we do. Sometimes we falter, sometimes we have cheat days, but we must always be gentle with ourselves and allow for positive change to come in whatever form it may. It may be that your family has a history of diabetes or heart disease, but what if you could be the one to change the narrative? Thank you.